Hello and welcome to Get Rich Slow, the podcast that challenges the conventional get-rich-quick ideology and instead explores what authentic success really means and how you can achieve it. I'm Hannah Martin, the founder of Talented Ladies Club, and today I am joined by Facebook ads expert Joe Francis for an episode on Facebook ads, surprisingly. So hi Joe, thank you for joining me again.
Oh, thanks for inviting me back.
Before we talk about Facebook ads, which I'm really keen to pick your brains on personally, I'd like to ask you again, for those people who didn't listen to your first episode, what does success mean to you?
I will be repeating myself because it still means the same thing. It's really, for me, it's about the freedom that it gives. For me, kind of what I feel like I've reached now is being able to set my own hours, being able to come and go as I please. And, there's a small element of the money, but for me, it was never about making, X amount of money. It was about having enough money to feel like I had an element of financial freedom. So, I can, buy what I want when I want, but I equally don't want, a Ferrari and to go to Barbados every other week. It was just about having enough. And then, that's just, where I'm at now. I feel like I have that freedom because I can come and go as I please. I can work my own hours. I don't work evenings and weekends. I'm not manically stressed. I'm really, really happy in my work. I'm comfortable. I think that to me is the best feeling.
Absolutely. No, that I yes, again, same as I agree with you and share your perception of success. So Facebook ads, how long have you been an expert at Facebook ads?
Well, I trained initially in 2017, so that's when I first really, I kind of toyed with them up till then. And then in 2017, I decided to really kind of invest in myself and just make sure that I knew them inside out. So sort of from that point on, they formed a part of my business. And I was much more generalist marketing at that stage. So I was helping businesses with their overall marketing strategy. Ads formed part of it. And then sort of as I kind of learned more and invested more in myself and just fell more in love with kind of the ad side of things, I actually niched in 2020 to be very specific about my offering, and rather than being kind of all things marketing to all people, very much focused on sales funnels. And for me, the two key components of sales funnels are Facebook ads and email marketing. So now probably 80% of my business is focused on Facebook ads, and then the other 20% is kind of helping people kind of with that end of it, with the email marketing end of it, because I don't think that Facebook ads stand alone. I think, there is more that you need to do when you've generated those leads. So for me, it's helpful to be able to take people all the way through that journey so that they know what they're doing, once they've started to get kind of leads from Facebook ads.
And what kind of clients do you work with?
Really, really diverse range of clients. I've got everyone from kind of e-commerce, so clothing, through to solar energy, coaches, consultants, people in the aesthetics industry, financial services. For me, it's not about, what business they're in. It's about where they're at in their business. So I try to avoid people who are startups and very new in business. Not because I don't want to work with them. I think, a year down the line, I definitely do. But I think they need to understand what their business is. They need to understand who their audience is. They need to have established themselves organically. Because I think when everyone starts up, what they think they've got is great, but they need to know that other people want it as well. And when you're at that point, it's just a case of finding more of those people. And that's the point where I want to step in and help people.
And what sort of success stories have you had? I mean, if someone's listening to this and thinking, like Facebook ads, I've heard about them, maybe I've tried them and not had much success. What kind of results can someone see from Facebook ads?
Really, again, completely varied. So I knew that you were going to ask me this. So I kind of looked at kind of different angles of it. So, one of the really good ones for me was I was working with a dog trainer. So up until lockdown, she was doing dog training classes and, that was her business. And she had to really quickly pivot, when lockdown happened, to try and take dog training online. So she created a course, which was great. It was video content, but, needed people to then become aware of that. So we worked really, really hard on launching her lead magnet. So, for anyone that doesn't know, I don't want to teach people to suck eggs, but a lead magnet is kind of a freebie that gives value, that then entices people to kind of get to know you, and, then you nurture them through email to the sell, basically. So we launched her lead magnet, which was sort of the very first stages of kind of training a puppy, because so many people got puppies in lockdown. And then we used Facebook ads to promote it, and we grew her email list initially by 1,000 contacts for £110. Wow. So where she was in a position of kind of not wanting to spend huge amounts of money, because sort of her business had literally kind of closed and had to pivot, that was massive success for her. So then she had 1,000 people that she was emailing, following up on this lead magnet, promoting her course, and then went on to sell the course. So it was a really, really good success story for her. But in a similar vein, I worked with a lady that did bread making classes, again, went from live to online, and we actually grew her Facebook page following. And a lot of people think, like your Facebook page like numbers is just vanity, but it's actually not, because if you can get people to like your page and then start to engage with your content, then, they become your kind of people and you can sell to them organically on the page. And again, we took her Facebook page sort of from low numbers to over 7,000. And at that stage, we were getting Facebook likes for 4p. Which is really unusual. I still do those campaigns with a lot of people, and you pay probably a lot more than that for a like. But, bread making, again, lockdown, everybody was making sourdough bread. It was a thing. So that was a really, really big success. But those kind of results have kind of carried on outside of lockdown. It's not just a kind of in that period when everyone was online. I work with a lot of financial services organisations. And I've just had one client who's, actually asked me to turn the ads off. And that's not because they weren't doing very well, but they've got too many leads. They haven't got enough staff at the moment to be able to go through the leads and actually, get in contact with everybody. And that's a hard market, things like life insurance. But kind of I've been working with them for a couple of years and we've completely nailed it. And when you're getting kind of £12 a lead in the financial services industry, it's really, really good. They're the type of industries that can buy leads. But when they're buying leads, they're paying kind of £60 or £70. So to be able to generate them themselves for that kind of amount is amazing.
Brilliant. And talked about sort of 4p alike being difficult to get. I know iOS 14 really changed Facebook ads, and they changed the kind of results people were getting. Has that really? Have you seen that across the board? Does it cost more these days to run Facebook ads? How have iOS 14 changed Facebook ads?
The thing with iOS 14 is basically that it opted everybody out of tracking. Unless you specifically said that you wanted to be tracked, it opted everybody out. So that meant that Facebook then couldn't report back on the actions that you'd taken. So ads are still working, but reporting is less clear. So it shouldn't prevent anybody from advertising, because people are still seeing the ads, but those people are just not being tracked. So in terms of, like, for example, if we're selling T-shirts, what I see in terms of 10 people have bought T-shirts, it may actually be that 15 people have bought T-shirts. So we tend to watch both ends now. We watch the ads manager and we also watch the back end of the website to see, what's happened there. And we use kind of promo codes and that sort of thing so that we can track the actual sales. Because those other 5 people may not be being tracked. So in terms of kind of how it's made it harder, the key difference is that all of the opted out people have come out of the audiences, which has decreased the audience size. So you have to just work harder and a bit smarter to find where your people are. So historically, you could build an audience. So you could say, I want people who shop at Waitrose and who, I don't know, like follow Oprah Winfrey. But Facebook has also taken away a lot of the those demographics and the things that people like, and they've reduced those down. So although you can still build those kind of saved audiences, they're less concise. So the best way to do it really is to look at your current sort of data. So things like if you've got an email contact list, if you are an e-commerce store, download your list of buyers and then upload those to Facebook. And Facebook will create a lookalike audience of your current audience. And it can only use the people that it's tracking. So it's giving you people that you know are kind of trackable. So it will say, right, you know, your current audience consists of people that shop at Waitrose and like Oprah Winfrey. Here you go. We've got 500,000 who also have those demographics, or that, you know, those things that they follow. And so they're really, really stronger audiences now. So yeah, I mean, there's been cost spikes that have sort of evened out. It's just about each individual person that's advertising really trying to make the changes and assess and track and test and look at what works out best for them. But it certainly doesn't mean that you know, the ads aren't working.
So the key differences seem to be about making sure that you're tracking not just what you see in the Facebook ads interface, but actually what you see in your end. So you have to make sure that you're sending them to a place where you can track people, or using devices like codes, but then also building audiences maybe in a different way to before. So you would say that the Facebook ads are still worthwhile for small business?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think that small businesses get a lot out of Facebook ads, but I think that people have to change the way they think about things, because I think when people think Facebook ads, they're like, right, well, I'm going to, you know, do all my marketing and then I'm just going to set up some ads just to sell to people. And that's not what it's always all about. You know, Facebook ads sort of selling should be right at the last thing that you're thinking about. The purpose for Facebook ads can be so much bigger than that. You know, you don't just go to a networking event for a referral. You know, if you went to a networking event and came away and went, well, no one gave me a bit of business, I'm not going there again. You know, that would have been a waste of your fee. Like, why were you going? So, and it's the same with Facebook ads. It's a marketing tool. So you're going on it. You're spending some money to build your audience. And to raise awareness, exactly the same as at a networking event. You do your 60-second pitch, you let all the people in the room know who you are, what you do, and you hope that they either have a need for you a bit further down the line, have an immediate need for you, or talk to someone else about having a need for you. And it's the same concept. You know, at the very top of your funnel is that just awareness and audience building, and just really getting your name out there. And it's a really, really low cost way of doing that. Whether you're geographically based and, you know, you want people in your town to know about your shop or your service, then it's brilliant. If you're kind of nationwide or international, it's just finding the right people and putting yourself in front of them. So it's kind of, you know, the right person, the right message at the right time. And that's what it gives you the ability to do.
I think, yeah, and you talked about the funnel earlier, and I think, you know, it's a really good point about, you know, the example you gave about the person who built their list by over 1,000 people, is that, you know, Facebook ads would have a different purpose at the top of your funnel, where you're literally maybe using a lead magnet to people who find you for the first time, who you might nurture through an email sequence, and then you might serve them an ad at the bottom of the funnel to retarget people. And so those ads will have different purposes, won't they? But, exactly. You know, I think what's really important is what, you know, you're saying is, don't just run a Facebook ad, really think about where it is in your funnel and what the purpose of it is. And, you know, you talked about as well, like, you know, paying £12 a lead in financial services. To pay £12 a lead for someone on a mailing list where you're never going to sell to them, that's a lot of money. But if you're going to potential £1,000 product to that person, that £12 is a bargain. It's all about understanding what a lead is worth to you, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's it. And that's, you know, what we always say is kind of, you know, your approach should be kind of working backwards from your objectives. So your objective is, you know, a customer, a client, a sale, and then you need to know what that lifetime value is of that customer. You know, kind of financial services, like you say, it might be £1,000. You know, high ticket coach, they might have a £5,000 thing that they're trying to sell. You know, a t-shirt brand, maybe they know that people tend to buy sort of twice, maybe 3 times from them, so it's like £120. But you need to know what that lifetime value is of that person, because then you're going to be able to work back from there to kind of go, right, you know, I'm prepared to spend this amount to get that person, or I'm prepared to kind of spend this amount to get this number of people on my list, because I know that when I get 100 people and I send them an email, 2 people buy. And you can work your costs out from there and what you're prepared to spend. But yeah, you've always got to sort of have your objective in mind, but you've also got to have the journey in mind as to how I'm going to get there. And I have so many conversations with people about, you know, what does your sales funnel look like? And they're like, oh, no, I haven't got one. No, you have. If you're in business, you have. No, I haven't got a sales funnel. No, you really have. Even if you don't know it, everybody that's in business has got a sales funnel. You might not have written it down. It might not be on a spreadsheet. It might not be something swanky. You have. Because a sales funnel is how you take strangers to become clients. So whether that's kind of like, oh, I just leave them to find me. Okay, well, that's at the top of your funnel. You know, leaving people to find you, not ideal. But, you know, you might say, well, you know, by that I mean I've got a website. And, okay, so, you know, people are browsing on your website. You know, what's sending them there? Oh, yeah. I do post on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. Okay, so these things are at the top of your funnel. Your organic social media is at the top of your funnel. You know, the sign outside your shop is the top of your funnel. You know, the ads you put in the newspaper. All of these things are what's driving people to you. And then what happens then, how you filter them down your funnel, is the activity that you do. So, you know, when they've seen that thing on social media, you know, what are you pushing them towards? Oh, I'm pushing them towards a page on my website. Right, so that's a bit further down, is that landing page. What do you ask them to do? Oh, sign up for 10% off. Okay, so signing up for that gets them 10% off. You send that to them by email. They're on your email list. You then start emailing them. So you're actually building out these things that form your sales funnel. These are the things that you do that push people down the funnel until the bottom where they convert. And then, you know, you decide whether you kind of then do the retargeting and go for things like testimonials and keep in touch with them and make them offers that makes them, you know, continue to be a customer. So, yeah, everybody does have it.
I think that there was something you mentioned just now, I think is really important, and it not everyone knows this, although I think they eventually discover it, is that your conversion rates, you know, and traditionally a conversion rate is about 2 to 5% off a sales page or off an email. And that's not just 2%, like say you have 20,000 people on your email list. It's not 2% of that 20,000. It's 2% of the people who actively start engaging with your funnel, who maybe go to your sales page, open that email and read it. And I think that's really important when it comes to Facebook ads, because often when I work with people who are fairly new to sales and marketing, and they'll be like, oh, I've got a really good product and I've really priced it really well. So, you know, I've got 100 people on my list. I reckon about half of them will buy. And you're like, no, they won't. It might be a brilliant product and it might be right for them. But it's really important to be aware that conversion rates are often a lot lower than people think. And therefore, you need people at the top of your funnel. You need, if you want one sale, potentially you might need 100 people starting and engaging with that, which is why I think one of the reasons why Facebook ads are important. And when TLC started out, we ran them because exactly what you're talking about, the lead magnets, because how are you going to get people that you're going to warm up in your lovely email list and with all the emails you've written for them? You need them in your funnel. And if you, even for a few number of sales, you need lots of people. And Facebook ads are a really good way, aren't they, of getting those people onto your list? Yeah,
definitely. And people sort of say to me, like, well, how long do you think I should run this for? And I'm like, well, how long are you thinking of being in business for? And then, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, because you need to be consistent about filling up the top of your funnel. Because, you know, those people are going to come in, some won't ever open an email, you know, some will read every email you send and you know, hopefully go on to become clients. But, you know, the thing with like email marketing is you have to email more than you're comfortable with, because people are like, oh, I just send an email when I've got an offer. Okay, well, that's not really going to work, because then you're just kind of, hitting people with buy my stuff. You've got to do some of the in-between stuff. And you've got to think that, we're turned on by headlines, aren't we? And sometimes you'll see who it's from, and you'll see, oh, that is something I'm interested in. Other times you'll just completely skip past it in your inbox or just delete it instantly because you just haven't got the time for it. So not everybody is going to see every email, the same as not everybody is going to see every social media post, and not everybody is going to get your ads put in front of them. So yeah, you've got to be consistent about keep filling up that the top of the funnel, and whether that is actually putting them on an email list, or whether that is just driving people to your website, because the great thing with Facebook is that if you've driven people to your website and you've got the pixel installed, then it's picking those people up and it's putting them in a website visitors audience, so they are there for retargeting. They don't have to have taken an action, they don't have to have done a thing apart from go to your website, and then you can retarget them. So if they randomly happen to look, at something that you're selling, leopard print t-shirts, then you can start representing them with leopard print t-shirt ads, until they're sick to death of you and stalk you and kill you, or they buy.
But yeah, that's the classic thing that I see the mistake people make is the middle of the funnel, missing out on that. They'll do all of this effort to attract people and they don't buy, and they're like, oh, sod you, you're not buying from me, therefore I'm just going to forget you. And actually people it's a journey. You talked about a journey, and it takes people a while to be ready to, they might need their circumstances to change to be ready to buy, or they might just need to get to know you better. And if you miss that middle of the funnel out, all the effort and money that you've spent getting people in is just going to waste. So you do need to kind of, as you say, retarget, get them back to your website or get them on your list and email them and build your relationship with them. Trust factor.
Yeah,
isn't
and that's the classic that I've been in marketing for 25 plus years, and that's still the thing, is the trust factor, which people are like, oh, so boring. And the 7 touch points. People aren't always instant customers. People like me are. I'm a marketer's dream, because you've only got to show me something that's got a good review, or tighten your inner thighs. Okay, yeah, I'll take that. Give me whatever it is. It's like they know you, but a lot of people need a little bit more pushing. So yeah, we always talk about kind of solving a problem for people. If you can work out what the problem is and show how you can solve it, then you're really onto a winner, and then you'll get clients say, but what do you mean, I'm a t-shirt brand, I don't solve a problem. We get there is a problem, and you've got to find out what it is. And I have one client who is great at this, and she is t-shirts and sweaters, and she will create video content of showing how you can wear a t-shirt with a leather skirt. Wear a t-shirt that you would go to the gym in, and then suddenly dress it up for a night out. It's the problem that people didn't know that they had, but when they see it, they're like, oh my god, yeah, that could really work, and that's quite a nice casual look, and that would be good for drinks, and rather than a full-on night out, and I'm going to get me one of those t-shirts. And so if you can, really try and get under the skin of kind of what kind of problems your end consumer has, then create content, and that's not sales content. That's value. Her videos are just literally showing how you can knot a t-shirt and make it so it doesn't have that horrible bump in the middle and things like that you kind of go away from and go, oh god, I'm going to do that now. But you remember where it came from, or you share it with someone else and go, and that's how you start to build that awareness and then start to sort of create fans, really.
I'm just hoping that the person washes the t-shirt between the gym and going out.
Not if you're like me, I'm tired in my gym gear, having been to the gym at 6 o'clock this morning, so
Well, I do hot yoga, and trust me, like when you come out of hot yoga, that you have to wash it. But so if someone's listening to this and they are on a Facebook ad yet, or maybe they've tried it hasn't worked, they're looking at a strategy from scratch. So what would you recommend they think about and thinking about the full funnel approach? What's the kind of ads they should consider? aspect of those?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, that's the important thing is think about it as your sales funnel. You're not just thinking about, it's just ads. You're thinking about your whole sales funnel, about where people come from and how you're going to get them interested in you and your product. And then, the start of it, before you even start your ads, is thinking about creating content. So whether that's written kind of long form content like blogs, or whether it's video content, that's the type of thing that you need to be sort of creating and thinking about. If I want to drive people to me, the most popular kind of pieces of content that I use are how to create and install your Facebook pixel, and what to do like post iOS 14, because these are two really big sticking areas for people in terms of Facebook ads. So I know that that's valuable content, but I'm not asking for a sale. Those are the two pieces of content that I share everywhere: LinkedIn, my Facebook page, Instagram. They're just blogs, and one's blogs with videos, because then people are going to kind of go, oh yeah, I can do this myself, and they 100% can. And but they know that it's me that gave them that information. It's me that broke it down for them. It's me that showed them how to do it. And if they ever want Facebook ads, hopefully they'll come back to me. So think about what content you can create, and think about answering questions. That's a really good method of kind of getting people to buy into you. If you can answer any industry questions, any questions about your product, and solve that kind of problem for people. Also think about things that you can give away. So, what makes suitable lead magnets for your industry, for your business, or whether you're going to choose things like discount codes. And, again, they make great ads. They also make great reasons to sign up to email. I'm less keen on them as an email sign-up method, because people tend to sign up, get the discount, and then bugger off again and unsubscribe. But yeah, certainly with ads, a great headline is kind of 15% off with this code, and then that's really, really, really trackable. But yeah, just really build up all of the kind of taking cold audiences to warm audiences, which is driving them to your website, getting them to engage with you. So engagement ads are things like video views, page likes, comments on your Facebook posts, which can feel a little bit like, what am I spending money on? But this is putting them into a warm audience. Once they've done that action, taken that action, they're in your warm audience. And then start retargeting your warm audiences with either something else, so getting them to sign up onto your email list, or straight sale, because getting leads and sales from warm audiences, I would say 75% of the time, is cheaper than trying to go for cold audiences. There are industries where you can just go out cold and the lead costs will be the same. I'm not denying that. And we test that a lot with all of the ads that I do, where I'm doing lead generation or conversions. We'll set up warm and cold and look at the costs. Because if you can get cold leads as cost effectively as warm leads, then you can drop some of the top of funnel stuff. But that's kind of a conversation further down the line. If you're new to ads, definitely start warming up your audience and start working out who your people are. Because if you're brand new, although you know what makes up a person in your audience in terms of, it's all women and they're generally this and they're generally that, you also have to be able to translate that to Facebook and find those people. So you'll be testing sort of saved audiences, lookalike audiences, building out, let's look at people who follow Oprah Winfrey, let's look at people who go to Waitrose, testing out all of those things until you find the sweet spot. Then you kind of go, right, I know that's where I can convert cold people to warm people. And it is just a lot of testing and tweaking. But yeah, just take it all the way through from the top to the bottom. Don't just go, right, I'm going to build one ad and I'm going to sell to people, and if they don't buy, then Facebook ads don't work. They were right.
And what about testing? So you talk a lot of what you're talking about is sort of trial and error, isn't it? So do you recommend that someone maybe kind of sets up an ad, and how long should they test it for? How much money should they put behind a test ad?
I mean, There is no such thing as a test ad, really. Facebook is just a continual testing and tweaking journey. So I think, when I work with people to try and explain it, we kind of, you never just set up one ad and one audience and that's it. You will always set up kind of one campaign, and within that campaign it might have, say, 4 ad sets, and an ad set really is just another term for an audience. So if we were selling t-shirts, we might have an audience of mums, then we might have an audience of business women, then we might have an audience of fitness people, and then we might have an audience of Oprah Winfrey followers. And then within those audiences, they'll have a number of ads, anything from kind of 4 to 20, 30, and those ads are testing creative and copy. You never just put together like one image with one set of copy, because then basically you're dictating to your audience, you either like this or you don't, and if you don't, that means that this whole thing has failed. Whereas if you have an image of kind of one of those flat lays with the t-shirt in with flowers and a coffee in, versus a model in the t-shirt versus a very normal looking kind of mum and her kids in the t-shirt, and then perhaps someone at the gym in the t-shirt, and then you can start to put all of those ads out in front of each of those audiences and kind of go, oh, well, funnily enough, we didn't think that the Oprah Winfrey people would like the gym ad, but that's the one that's getting the most traction. Because otherwise, again, you're saying, right, they like Oprah Winfrey, so they're going to like the flat lay best, or so, whereas it's you've almost got to leave your ego at the door. This is not about you. It's not about what you think your product is. It's about how other people receive it. So by testing a lot of these things, a lot of surprises come out, because you sort of think, oh yeah, this is definitely going to win. This is amazing. And then suddenly it's kind of an image that you didn't think was going to take off. And again, it's the same thing with the copy. At minimum, I tend to write kind of 4 different pieces of copy, because you have to find your voice. You have to find what resonates with your audience. And you've got kind of the headline space where you can play around with kind of get your t-shirt now, or the best t-shirt for the summer season, and all of those different things. You've got the first line of copy, which is the line people see before they hit kind of read more. That's again a really good space to kind of have you seen kind of Amanda Holden's wearing our latest t-shirt? That's going to work with people who like Amanda Holden. It's not going to work with the people that don't. And if you test all of these things out, you'll find that you've got one lead image, one lead set of copy, and then you can start to kind of work more on that, and you start to push those ads out more and get your costs coming down. And then when you come to recreate create your next ad campaign, you can kind of look at your results and go, well, we know now that actually kind of the gym pics don't really work, but if we can try different styles of mums in t-shirts, they seem to resonate really well with our audience. And you're constantly just taking all of this data and using it to build better and better and more successful campaigns.
And that's such good advice. So if someone is putting an ad out or several ads out, how frequently do you need to check those? They also need time to bed down, don't they? So like if I was putting a campaign out today and I've got like lots of different versions, my images, my different headlines, how soon do you reckon I look at it before making a call? Like, the flat lay's not really working, but the gym pic is. Is there a kind of a set amount of time it's quite good to leave them for?
I mean, try not to touch them for a week. I mean, Facebook has a learning phase anyway, so you'll see that kind of flagged to you. But yeah, we try and sort of leave things alone just to see what happens. And what you'll see is that you don't have to do too much in that initial stage, because it's not like the ads that aren't working are going to be wasting money. Because what Facebook does is it takes, say, for example, you've got 10 ads sitting in that audience. It takes those 10 ads and it kind of starts putting them out, and 1 or 2 will start getting more popular. So it stops showing the others. So your popular ones are kind of, rising up. and getting more traction, more reach, more impressions, more clicks, more landing page views. That's happening automatically. And then, after your week, when you look at it, you can kind of automatically see that. And what you might see is turn off the other 8, because they might be spending pennies, but you actually don't need to spend pennies because you've already got your 2 most successful ones. And then you'll look at the 2 most successful ones and maybe leave them to run for a bit. And when you look at them again, you'll be like, well, they are both really successful. They're both getting, clicks or landing page views or conversions, whatever your objective is. But this one is getting them at this amount of pounds or pence, and this one is kind of 20% cheaper. So I'm going to turn off the most expensive one and leave that one to run. So although it may be a successful ad, what you want to go for is kind of the one that's the most cost effective. Once you've left the test to run for sort of 7 days, you can look and if you've got 10 ads, you'll see the kind of 2 might have risen to the top, and they might be the best performing ones. They're getting all the likes, the link clicks, landing page views, that kind of thing. And then you can go through and turn off, the ones that aren't performing, which will stop them spending any budget, and then leave kind of the 2 best performing to run. And then when you review it again, you might look at it and actually realise that of the 2 that are running, one is more cost effective. It's getting lower cost link clicks, it's getting lower cost conversions, and then you might, put it down to just 1 ad. I tend to leave kind of 2 or 3 ads running, allow them to compete with each other, and you'll get sort of, periods of time where you kind of actually, you go, oh God, that one's suddenly the conversions are really expensive, so you'll turn it off, and you might turn one of the ones that hadn't performed before on. You could just start playing around with it, and you can kind of go, well, actually, because 2 were really successful from the start, maybe the other 8 didn't get a fair chance. So if the costs start rising on those 2 that are successful, you can just bite the bullet and turn them off and let the others push through and see if you can get more success. But by having all of these ads available to test, you just get a real feel for what does work and where the costs sit. And it's really then trying to push through the ads that have the lowest costs associated with them. So yeah, it is just constant. I just say constant watching. I'm not sat here glued to my ad accounts. But yeah, most of my clients I check in probably every day. But then that's my job. So if I was running ads for myself, I'd probably be checking maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
Excellent, thank you. So you've shared a lot of advice about ads and the funnel in general, which is excellent. And I highly recommend anyone listen to and follow your advice, because it's brilliant marketing advice as well as Facebook ads advice. So if someone's listened to this and you had to give them maybe, I don't know, like up to maybe 5 top tips to make their Facebook ads work really well, what are your biggest tips for Facebook ads?
I mean, number 1 overall is test, and tweak. Never think that you stop testing, because you just don't in any campaign. Even if you've got the most amazing campaign and you're like, I'm not going to touch it, still be creating other ads, still be like looking at copy, building up a bank of content, because Facebook is a funny taskmaster and things tank for no reason. So you need to know that you've got something, ready to go out if it starts having problems. So yeah, really like test saved audiences versus custom audiences. Custom audiences are what's created by your data. So that's your email list, your website, visitors, your Facebook followers, and those lookalikes. So test the various audiences. Test your creative. It's not always what you think. Just be really open-minded to kind of different shots, different ways of kind of putting things together, and keep an eye on kind of trends. There's a lot of trends coming through on TikTok that are working really well with Facebook ads. So don't be afraid to kind of try new things and things that are slightly kind of quirky and maybe not just like, here's my product. There's lots of kind of playful stuff that can work really, really well. Again, test copy. never just one version. It's never just that one line. Really, really make the most of your headline and your first line of copy. They're absolutely key. And leave your ego at the door. This is not about you. It's really about your audience, and you've got to understand what they want. And it's not always kind of what we want or how we think we should talk or what we think they should look at. You've really, really got to make it about them.
Brilliant, thank you. And if someone wants to find you, maybe read content you've written about Facebook ads, or kind of contact you to work with you, where can they find you?
Biz, which is BIZ, just to be unusual rather than, all of the other endings I could have had. And on there you'll find all my socials. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm on all the platforms.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Jo, for sharing your advice and your insights on Facebook ads.